We've all seen it. Maybe it was a friend, a family member, or hey, maybe it was even us. A kid who is just so incredibly bright, but their report card, it tells a totally different story. It's this frustrating paradox, right? And today we're going to dive into the 7 hidden roadblocks that cause this, and, more importantly, how we can start clearing the way.
You can see that spark in their eyes. They've got the quick wit, this deep curiosity about the world, but then you look at their grades and there's this disconnect. It's a puzzle that can leave everyone, parents, teachers, the student, feeling pretty helpless. So what is really going on here?
It's so easy to jump to the conclusion that maybe they're just not as smart as we thought. But what if that's the wrong question entirely? What if the real story is about all these invisible hurdles, these subtle challenges that can trip up even the brightest minds out there? Well, the answer isn't some big, unsolvable mystery. It actually comes down to one single, powerful number: 7. 7 distinct pillars that can either hold a student up and help them succeed, or cause the whole thing to come crumbling down.
And listen, this is the most important part. Every single one of these problems is solvable. These are not life sentences. They are specific challenges that, when you know what you're looking for, can absolutely be overcome. So let's break them down one by one.
We have to start at the very bottom, with the foundation of their education. Because if there are cracks here, it doesn't matter how much effort you put in later on. The whole structure is just never going to be stable.
Okay, so problem number 1 is a weak foundation. Imagine trying to build a skyscraper on sand. That is exactly what it's like for a student who gets pushed into advanced math without ever truly mastering fractions. They're not just struggling a little. They're literally drowning in a sea of concepts they were never prepared for.
But here's the good news. We can totally repair these cracks. Simple diagnostic tests can work like an X-ray, showing us exactly where the gaps are. And from there, things like bridge courses or even peer tutoring can act like surgical cement, filling in those missing pieces. And at home, something as simple as reading every day can reinforce that foundation brick by brick.
But these foundational cracks aren't just academic. They can be really emotional. And that brings us to the fear of certain subjects. We've all heard it, right? Oh, I'm just not a math person. That phrase, it's usually a shield. It's protecting them from a past failure, or maybe a classroom where they were just terrified to ask a question. And that fear, it builds a mental wall, and no new information can get through it.
So, to tear down that wall, we have to change the whole environment. It starts by creating a classroom where mistakes aren't just okay, they're actually celebrated as part of the process. We can turn scary subjects into games, puzzles, and real-world problems. And when we start praising effort instead of just the final grade, we teach kids that the journey is just as important as the destination.
All right, with a more solid foundation in place, we can now turn our attention to a challenge that's pretty much unique to our time: the constant, unending battle against modern distractions.
Problem number 2 is a thief that is constantly stealing our focus: a lack of concentration. With the constant buzz of notifications, the siren song of video games, the endless scroll of social media, our ability to just sit and focus has been shattered. For a student trying to wrestle with a complex idea, it's like trying to have a deep conversation in the middle of a rock concert. It's almost impossible.
Thing is, we can train our brains to fight back. Instead of long, boring lectures, we can use hands-on, activity-based learning that keeps students engaged. We can weave in stories to make abstract ideas stick. By breaking lessons down into smaller, bite-sized chunks, we stop their brains from getting overloaded. And by teaching simple mindfulness exercises, we can help them literally build up their focus muscle.
And this battle for focus, it goes way beyond the classroom. Problem 5 is the digital overload that follows them home. It's not just about their mind wandering during homework. It's about how way too much screen time can mess with their sleep. And sleep is the brain's essential save button for everything they just learned that day. Look, the solution isn't to just ban all technology. It's about finding a healthy balance. This means setting clear rules, like no phone zones at the dinner table or during study time. It means rediscovering the simple joy of a physical book, a whole world without hyperlinks and pop-up ads. And it means getting outside, finding hobbies that remind them there's a whole world out there to explore beyond the screen.
So, we've tackled the external distractions. Now, let's turn our focus inward, to the internal habits and the mindsets that can literally make or break a student's success.
Oh man, problem 4 is a huge one: poor study habits. A student can spend hours and hours with a highlighter, turning their textbook into a work of art, but if they're just passively reading, it's like pouring water into a leaky bucket. All the time and effort is there, but the results, they just don't show up. This is where we need to give students a real toolkit of proven, powerful strategies. Things like active recall, which forces you to pull information out of your brain instead of just putting it in. Mind maps, which help you see how all the ideas connect. And spaced repetition, which basically hacks your memory. These techniques turn studying from a boring chore into an active, strategic mission.
But even the best study habits in the world are useless if a student has zero will to use them. And that brings us to problem 6, a lack of motivation. When learning feels like just a bunch of random facts, when they can't see how any of it applies to their actual life, their internal engine just sputters out and dies.
But we can be the spark that reignites that engine. It all starts by connecting the dots between what they learn in the classroom and the real world, by sharing stories of how this knowledge has actually changed people's lives, and by building this ladder of small, achievable goals so that every single step forward fuels their confidence and makes them want to climb even higher.
Okay, we've looked at the classroom, we've looked at technology, and we've looked inside the student's own mind. But there is one more crucial piece to this puzzle, the one that bridges the gap between school and home. And that's the homeschool partnership.
And this brings us to our final pillar, number 7, the vital role of parental support. Now, this isn't about adding more to a parent's already overflowing plate. It's about recognizing that without a supportive home environment, a student can miss out on that crucial guidance and encouragement that really helps them thrive.
And here's the empowering part. This kind of support doesn't take hours of tutoring. It's asking about their day. It's taking 5 minutes to just glance at their homework. It's encouraging them to read for fun. These small, consistent actions weave a safety net of support that sends a super clear message. Hey, we're in this together.
So after going through all 7 of these pillars, we're left with one foundational belief that changes everything. It's this simple but profound idea that every single child is capable of learning.
And if you truly believe that, it leads to a pretty radical conclusion. When a student is struggling, the problem isn't the student. The problem is the method. And that is a total game changer. It shifts us from trying to fix a child to searching for the right key to unlock the incredible potential that's already there inside them.
And so that leaves us with a challenge, but also a huge opportunity. Whether you're a teacher looking to shake things up, a parent who wants to support their child, or a student ready to take control of your own learning, the question is, which key will you try first?